repeat, you're going to have a conflict with the drug. Oh, sorry, Lynn, I meant Ms. Harris. That it's going to happen. And so, how's that going to be resolved? And I didn't hear that. I don't understand how that process is going to work. And I would rather that we figure that out up front than we deal with on the backside when we haven't resolved it. And you know, they're going to have, you know, it'll come. I mean, it will happen. And I just like to have things buttoned up tight before we implement.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
I have a question for Mr. Weiss. Have you taken any campaign contributions from either of the two vendors that are bidding on the construction of the new hotel with the site?
I've received contributions from Tuma, and I've received contributions from, well, through, not directly from Kerry Kilday, but from his spouse.
Okay. And have you taken any contributions from them?
These are not the developers. The Kilday Studios is a, yes, I have from both Kilday and Tuma.
Okay. And to follow up on a couple other questions, in your opening statements, you said that you had and some sort of community service officer or police officer. What was the capacity that you went into this building?
I was a volunteer. I'm a Citizens on Patrol. I am the captain, and I was responsible for designing their policy and procedure manual and organizing the
so the citizen observer type.
Correct.
Correct. And then you stated that they call you in the middle of the night and you participate in bond hearings for different criminal offenses in the city?
That's correct.
In what capacity?
As a citizen.
He does a good job too.
I don't understand. How do you participate?
I get up.
I mean, I've never been there.
Okay, so let me explain how it all works.
Yeah.
Okay, are you an attorney?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm a small business owner.
Okay, so here's how it works. When you're arrested in Palm Beach County, you go in front of a judge within 24 hours. So, no, it's called first appearance. Excuse me, Judge. This is Florida.
Oh.
They don't have to make a plea. It's not a plea hearing. It's called first appearance, and they can be held over for an arraignment if needed. But they go in front of the judge for first appearance. And what happens is, if there are people that are interested in the case, could be a victim, could be a family member of the person being charged. It varies on each case. But you're allowed to go up, there's a microphone for people in the audience to come up, and you go up in front of the audience, and the judge may or may not address you. And if the judge does address you, typically they ask you, why are you here? And I tell them, I'm here on behalf of the neighborhood, the South End neighbors, and we have real concerns about this. And that we would like either maximum bail, or as I said, in some cases where it is incredible, you know, they're really bad crimes, we'll ask for no bail. And so that's how it works.
Shannon, do you have something brief to say?
No.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Quick one, and then another quick one. John Wakovitz from National Organization for Women, Democratic Women's Club. Will both of you continue to uphold or improve upon the current protections for centers offering reproductive health care services and abortion in West Palm Beach, including strict enforcement of the noise ordinance?
My answer would be yes. And also just to let you know, here in West Palm Beach, we have a clinic, and it has been bombed. And my wife volunteers there. She goes there on Saturdays and helps women that are having to have a procedure get inside the building. There, people will they yell at them. They try and stop women from doing something that is a medical procedure that is legal to be done. And so yes, I would support that. And I mean, it's something that people should have, is the right to make the choice of their own medical procedures for their own body.
I'm a little older than Mr. Weiss, so I have been fighting for women's rights for a little bit longer, so the answer is yes.
Thank you. Next really quick question. Wearing my other hat, I'm a hospice physician and I live in the North End. And when I look in the obituaries in the Post, I see some very old people and I see some very young people dying of preventable conditions. These conditions can help to be prevented by safe streets, stores that sell fresh food, and dedicated areas for walking and for play in all neighborhoods. And as a resident of the North End with no previous knowledge of your work on the issue of healthy communities where people can exercise, I'm asking you if you have any plans in that regard.
Okay, I'm actually pretty excited about the fact that we just prevented a school from going onto the grounds at Curry Park, and but what usually happens in a situation like that, when you learn why one thing shouldn't happen, it brings a light onto something else. And it is an absolutely fabulous location that the city really does need to start to focus on for not just as a passive park, but also as an exercise park. And I have been working recently with a gentleman from Northwood who has been trying, and I have a daughter that works for Farm Credit Council in Washington, D.C., and she is working with us on some grant programs to help them be able to get up and running. And I think that it's exactly what you're talking about. Thank you.
First off, full disclosure, I'm a Pilates instructor, so exercise is a big part of my life.
Good.
Obviously I believe in exercise, but let me tell you about something that happened in my neighborhood. We, right over here on Belvedere, we used to have a Winn-Dixie grocery store. And Winn-Dixie went into bankruptcy and they closed down this store. And now we have a lot of our neighbors that live south of Belvedere, and they don't have access to transportation. And so you know where they're shopping now? You know where they do their grocery shopping? The dollar store. Dollar store added in some additional food. There's no fresh fruit, there's no fresh vegetables, there's none of those things. It's all processed, it's all, you know, whatever they can put on their shelves. I think they added in a cooler so they could have some milk there. But it is so, so important. We have created food deserts in our city, including in the North End. You know, and it needs to be a priority to make sure that we have access to fresh fruits, to vegetables. And the other thing I can tell you is something that's also very important to me is our after-school programs and how that all plays into this. That we can not only encourage healthy diets through these programs, but we can have world-class after-school programs. That we use that as a benefit for being a resident of West Palm Beach, for having a business in West Palm Beach. I mean, when I was younger, and I grew up in a middle-class family, but my parents made sure, you know, my mom sent me to piano lessons. And it made a big difference in my life, the discipline that it took, and understanding music. And today, in our schools today, and unfortunately, we don't control the schools. It's done, you know, it's not part of the city, but we do control the after-school programs. And we've got some great programs, but we can make them better. We need to make sure that we're delivering the highest quality we can and use them as a way to set our city apart.
Yes.
Do you really think he needs that?
Alan Mergerman.
Keep it short, Alan.
Alan Mergerman, President of Mid-County Democratic Club. Shanon, I have a question for you, because a lot of people here know me, and I'm a person of, I mean what I say, and I say what I mean, and I'm very, integrity and doing the right thing is real important to me. When you were interviewed for the job, you unequivocally said that you were going to contribute 10.5 months to this campaign. You weren't going to run for re-election. Then there was other comments made that I didn't like. I was friends with Bill Moss for 31 years. Good friend of mine, very good friend. very sad that he passed away. And you made another comment about how you did more in 9 months than Bill did in 9 years. But then on the interview, you praised him and said he would look down at you and you know, be happy with what you're doing. I don't think he would be.
Okay. Is that
I want to know why that you said that you would not run and now you're running, and why you're putting down a man that can't defend himself, that passed away.
Okay, I can't believe we're still going to talk about this.
Well, I'm sorry. It means a lot to me.
Excuse me. I was very good friends with Bill. He never mentioned your name, so I'm not sure about your friendship.
Never mentioned your name either.
But it's amazing to me that in the United States of America we can continue to have this conversation. So let's just be very clear. I never said never. And Commissioner Moffett, who was sitting right here, was in the Post quoted, she wanted to appoint someone who was going to run for office because she didn't want to dilute the talent that could come forward. Now they aren't her exact words, but that's what her quote says. Very close to it. So, are we going to continue to have a conversation about what somebody, I don't know what everybody thinks. You can't pretend you know what everybody thinks, but this is what I do know. Everywhere I go in this city, especially the people that know me, and I have a lot of friends, because I have worked hard in this city for 35 years, because I've raised my kids here. I was PTO president for 7 years. I was very invested in my kids' education. I was very invested in my community. I'm invested in my business community. We are a neighborhood association people there as well. Everywhere I go, I have friends, north, west, east, and south. And they have all said to me, you are doing a great job. Please run. We have not seen a commissioner like you in a long time that asks the hard questions. So I responded to all of my friends all across this city and finally said I would. And thank you very much for all the encouragement.
Just to say, after Commissioner Moss passed away, I received phone calls, people asking me if I would consider running, because if you recall at the time, we thought we were going to hold a special election. And so people called me and said, you've done so much for the community, we think you would do a great job as our commissioner. And I got ready for an election, talked to campaign people, and thought I was going to be running in the next few days. And then, of course, was determined that the city, both I believe by the charter, was not able to hold an election, and nor was the supervisor of elections able to provide a time, a date when they could do that. So we moved forward on an appointment. And through that process of the appointment, I heard the people say, we don't want to have somebody appointed that's going to run.
That's right.
Because it would give somebody an unfair advantage, and we want to leave this decision to the people and not to the commission. And I remember the commissioners saying they didn't want to appoint somebody who was going to run. I listened to what I felt as somebody who aspired to be a representative of the people. I needed to listen to what they said. And I listened, and I didn't apply for that appointment, and I filed my intention to run, and that's where we are today.
Yes. Honesty and integrity.
any questions? Yes, in the back.
This is a question regarding what you think that you can do as a commissioner that you haven't been able to do as a regular citizen. That's the first part. And the second part is, do you think your position as a commissioner will affect what you're currently doing as a citizen?
Who's that for?
Both of you.